This portal, man. This portal's getting on my nerves.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. I want to thank you every day for joining us every day because you have made Locked On the number one sports podcast network there is. Can you believe it? We did it. All of us together. Also want to give a shout out to Tucker, who I met last night at La Paz in Birmingham, and the lovely Mrs. Tucker. She was a 10. He was like a 7. I'm kidding. He was a 6. Super nice guy.
Typical SEC couple, like they say.
Typical. It was so, yeah. Oh, he was definitely playing an away game. There's no doubt about it. It was an SEC away game. There's no doubt. Anyway, they couldn't have been any nicer. And also, one more time, I want to apologize to her because she had reached out to me via Instagram to give him a message on his bachelor party when he was in Vegas a few months ago. And oof. I don't check our Instagram all the time. So, I just didn't see it. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I said, but you know what? His next marriage, I'll get it. She goes, yeah, but I won't be sending you a DM then. That's true. But anyway, I'm really a terrible person to meet. Anywho.
This guy's listening to Locked On Bama on his bachelor party?
No, I think I was just going to call him. He might be listening to his bachelor party. Hey, look.
I'm just saying, that's pretty –
Locked On Bama After Dark can get there sometimes. You give us a little Rugiet and a couple of sips of champagne, ain't no telling what's going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, Hollywood Smothers, who we thought was locked down with Alabama, a very nice, not even a running back piece. He was sort of the piece. We just assumed he was going to be the guy. Very good player. Want him in this class. He actively, apparently, sought us out and pursued us as much as we pursued him. Seemed like a wonderful relationship. Well, apparently Texas is reaching out to him. Or I guess it could be that he reached out to Texas. I feel like Texas reached out to him. And now he may be visiting there. Now, the funny thing about that, at least according to Tim Watts at BOL, feel free to refute, that if he were to do that, Raleek Brown, who was the number 2 running back, or number 3 running back in the portal, I think Smothers was number 2 or something like that. Raleek Brown, who had been at USC and then at Arizona State, he is now committed to Texas, not signed, just like Smothers in Alabama. And apparently Raleek Brown would be like, okay, if Smothers comes here, I may go to Bama myself. This, Jimmy, is stuff like this that is so against what the intent of the transfer portal is to me and what sports should be. Who am I to judge? I guess if you're a player that has transferred 6 times, you're probably like, hey, Luke, I'm going to get money where I get money. You ain't paying me, so shut your yapper. I get that too. But this can't be. I don't know anybody that really believes this can be good for the longevity of the sport.
Well, I guess that's another show for another day. We just got to deal with what we got to deal with now to put our roster together. I mean, January is sort of turned into roster management month. I mean, where you spend the entire month putting together the team that you're going to be putting on the field. Let's remember there's no post-spring transfer portal this year. So literally this transfer portal window is the one and only opportunity you have to build your team for this fall. As far as Hollywood goes, look, for those that want to be upset at Alabama's football staff, I get it entirely. I even would go so far as to say that getting Hollywood Smothers on campus for a few days, and he's even enrolled in classes, and not getting him signed and locked down was a fail. That's a fail. How that happened, I don't know. But he was here. He never signed, so he's still available. And
God, that is boy, I did not know that part. That is stupid. That's a fail, and it's stupid.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they tried to, and he refused to sign. Maybe he was like, I'm committed, but I'm not that committed. But he's, per Tim Watts, who's done some excellent reporting on this on BOL. Check it out. He's even enrolled in classes. Classes at Alabama started this past Wednesday. We're live on Saturday, so class has been going on for 3 days. I don't know whether he attended classes or not yet, but apparently enrolled in classes. But look, here's one thing I want to say. This isn't sour grapes, or we said this before Hollywood Smothers ever committed to Alabama. We had a discussion on this show and off air even about which back do you like more, Hollywood Smothers or Raleek Brown? I preferred Hollywood Smothers between the two, but said at the time and minute, hey, Raleek Brown is no consolation prize. He's really good, and it's arguable as to whether he's every bit the player that Hollywood is. So if, as Tim has hinted, that it could work out this way, that Hollywood goes to Texas, but Raleek Brown's at Alabama, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a terrible result for Alabama. It's certainly a better result than getting neither, because Raleek Brown is highly capable and he would be running back one at Alabama this fall, no differently than Hollywood would have. Raleek Brown was incredibly productive at Arizona State for a good program and a good team. He's fast. As a matter of fact, he probably might even be faster than Hollywood, a little more compact. But he would be RB1 at Alabama. I have no doubt that that's true. And the most important thing is if you improve the running back position, if you're adding Raleek and, if you're adding Raleek Brown to what Alabama's already got, you just improve the room. I know everyone will be disappointed about Hollywood Smothers, but it'll make another storyline for this fall. I mean, who ended up in better shape there, Alabama or Texas? It wouldn't be shocking that Raleek Brown proves to be, the better player. That's why they're basically 1 and 2 in the portal in terms of how you rank the running backs.
Okay, it should be noted, by the way, this happened 3 minutes ago. The Mercer defensive back, who's 6'4", by the way, Carmelo O'Neal, he just committed to Alabama. He's an Atlanta native. For those who don't know, Mercer is in Macon, Georgia. I've been there several times myself because we've done some work there with my family's business, and it's a beautiful little campus. It's lower classification. I mean, it's like transferring from 1A to 7A. There's no doubt if you're looking at AHSA high school stuff. But, this Mercer team was really, really good last year. I know Auburn beat them up pretty good, but that's going to happen when you step up in classification like that. But a 6'4" DB, I mean, it goes back to what we've said many times, that this staff likes tall receivers and tall DBs, it seems like. And we can talk about him in a minute, but I think the more crucial thing, and I don't want to not give him his limelight, but the more crucial thing is this running back stuff and the overarching theme of the portal, which is it's even led to less loyalty, which the sport is dying for some kind of loyalty from somebody, which that used to make college football different. And I thought this last night when I watched Indiana, Oregon, that Indiana, they've got a bunch of guys that they've brought over transferred to, and but they're all in their mid-20s, it seemed like. And that, because people are like, well, how are they doing this? I think he did figure out the secret sauce. Like, you got to have good players. And if you have good players that are older, that's really good. And I think that certainly helped a lot too. But this Hollywood Smothers thing, first of all, we're not saying he doesn't end up at Alabama. He may still stay with Alabama. That is certainly a possibility.
Yeah, I would even say it's beyond a possibility, very realistic that Hollywood Smothers sticks with Alabama after more likely than he leaves. That's a good way to say it, right? I would say it's more likely he ends up at Texas, but I do think it's very realistic that he remains at Alabama because he's literally enrolled in classes there, sought out Alabama, likes Alabama, unless something has gone sideways that we're just unaware of. But I do think the fact that he came to Alabama, was on campus for a few days, enrolled in classes, and is going to Texas anyway, that to me says most likely Texas. But when I say most likely, I'm not ruling out Alabama. It makes a lot of sense for him to do the easy thing and just remain at Alabama. But in terms of how it plays out for the Tide, is whether you end up with Hollywood Smothers or Raleek Brown, you've improved the running back room. And that's what the focus should be on. The true disaster would be failing to sign either one. Because if you don't sign Smothers or Raleek Brown, I don't know that you're going to find anyone in the portal that improves the room.
Unless that person is at Oregon, Indiana, Miami, or Ole Miss, and they just hadn't gotten in the portal yet. That's the only way I can see.
And that could be true too. And we're not anywhere near the deadline for the other 132 schools either. I mean, Isaiah Horton just got in the portal for Alabama, I believe, on Friday or Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, so these players still have time to decide to get in the portal, the ones that haven't already re-signed with their school's collective.
Okay, so there's no way to sugarcoat this. I did see one of the comments here. This is not good news, but one of the comments I thought was kind of interesting, and I got to scoot back now. I'm not as one of the comments on there said, "We need new Alabama insiders." I don't think he was talking about us, but I think he was talking about other folks, because he was like, "Hey, this is why do people keep telling us everything's going to be okay?" And look, I think, first of all, I think everything is going to be okay. I mean, let's calm down a little bit. Hollywood Smothers, I bet you most people that are even listening, that are watching right now, didn't know who Hollywood Smothers was until Alabama started actively pursuing him, or vice versa, in this portal. I mean, it's not like he was Barry Sanders. I would love to have Hollywood Smothers, want him desperately. But do I think he's Derrick Henry or Reggie Bush? I mean, let's ease up. So it's not going to end the program if Alabama does not get him. Okay. But I do think it's also fair to say, and I also think people like Tim Watts have done a really good job of saying, in fact, go read his post on BOL. He's like, look, this is bad news. There's no other way for me to say it, but Hollywood Smothers may be visiting Texas. Doesn't mean it's over. It's not the end of the world, but he may be visiting Texas. To me, that's not blowing smoke up anybody's tuchus. I mean, that is exactly what's happening. And so I just don't want, like, the Tim Wattses and Andrew Bones and Greenbergs of the world or whatever to get, isn't it Greenberg? Right,
Greenberg. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so 24. I don't want those guys getting a bad rep because these kids are changing their minds last second. And also, how is Tim Watts supposed to know that this was going to happen? I'm sure Texas went a lot of back channels to make this happen. And hey, Alabama's probably done it too. So let's ease up.
Yeah, it's not. No one's saying that, hey, this is a great thing. No one's saying that. I think it's bad, and I already said it. It's a fail on Alabama's part to have Hollywood Smothers on campus for multiple days and not get him signed and locked down. That's a failure on Alabama's coaching staff's part, and it could end in a situation where you haven't added Hollywood or Raleek Brown, and now you have the same running back room you had last year coming back with the addition of E.J. Crowell. And I don't think we need to forget that or blow that off. It's a massive coup that E.J. Crowell is on campus now too and is part of the running back room. And who's to say that he won't end up RB1? I don't think anyone would argue that he's not the most gifted guy in that running back room. He's just a freshman, and you hate to assume that a freshman is going to be your best player, but he is exactly the type that could prove that. So I don't think all is lost at running back for Alabama by any means. I'm still excited about A.K. Deer. You have veterans now in Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley, but I'm excited about how good Crowell can be and how good A.K. Deer might be. So all is not lost at the position, but at the same time, it's fair to criticize. It's fair to say, how did you not lock down to Hollywood Smothers? How do you end up when things look so good? Now you're possibly going to end up with Raleek Brown. Again, that's going to feel to Alabama fans like it's some sort of consolation prize. Now that's kind of where I draw the line. It's not. That's a legitimate top flight proven college football star in Raleek Brown, who's had a big-time recruit, who's had multiple good seasons at the Power 4 level. So that's all good, and I'm a little excited about this Mercer defensive back. That's a really good ad for Alabama. 6'4", 200. That's a rare size for a cornerback, particularly a cornerback's playing FCS football. That would explain why he had multiple offers from big-time schools to go. This was not an easy guy to sign, even though he's from sort of local to Alabama. Now, Alabama returns Zabian Brown and Dijon Lee at cornerback. So your starters are sort of set. So I want people to look at this kid like he's depth. That's what he is. but he's also very possibly a future starter. But that would be down the road. Immediately, he's going to provide excellent depth, and Alabama's numbers at cornerback are not good at all. You need to add some here. You're adding Zion Gibson, and Jordan Edmonds from the high school class, who are outstanding. Just continue to recruit that cornerback position really well. One last thing about the Mercer kid. He played cornerback at Mercer, obviously at 6'4", 200. He could easily move to safety. He could play that Husky position where Red Morgan plays, but he was a corner at Mercer. So it'd be really interesting to see what spot he ends up at Alabama. A kid with that size can play all the DB spots, but apparently Alabama likes him as a cornerback. Crazy that Alabama would have corners the size of this kid and Deshaun Lee at the same time. This guy's asking, where are the good people? Asks, is Raleek Brown coming on a visit? I think the Hollywood Smothers thing has to play itself out first,
right,
before that Raleek Brown thing happens. Now, keep this in mind, everybody. This is where it gets complicated. If you haven't already read Tim Watts reporting on BOL, Raleek Brown signed with Texas. He's already signed, so he is part of Texas. However, Texas doesn't want both these kids, nor do both of these kids want to go to the same place. So most likely, in terms of how this would play out, if Hollywood Smothers commits to Texas, Texas is going to release Raleek Brown.
If I were Raleek Brown, though, Jimmy, wouldn't you be, furious?
Yeah.
You signed, and if you know both kids don't want to go here, and then after the fact, you actively pursue a guy who's already at the other school taking classes, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I get Alabama should have locked him down. I'm with you. I've seen some people say, hey, LSU didn't let Jordan Ross get out of there. Could probably a different scenario where LSU probably threw a bunch more money. Alabama plays this a little differently than other schools. We've talked about that. But if I were Raleek Brown, I'd be like, what are you doing? You can't just lock me up. No, I'm not doing this. I don't know. I'd be furious if I were him. I'd be furious.
If I'm Raleek and I feel like, well, they've chosen another back over me. This happens in recruiting every day at every program because there is a hierarchy at every place, and it's just Texas choosing Hollywood over Raleek. If I'm Raleek, I'm like, I want to play for a school that plays Texas because I want to show the Texas that they were wrong, that I am actually the better player, and they were wrong in picking another guy over me. But that's what we got.
I got bad news, Jimmy.
We got voted off.
Green-Z1Q. He says, Luke, I vote you off Locked Off Bama. You're a joke. I am a joke. I have no problem saying that. However, good thing for you, this isn't a democracy. Jimmy and I are the dictators of Locked On Bama Island, and we don't care if Chance 1ZQ is upset with one of us. So there's that, Chance. But now,
watch an NFL countdown show that I didn't know we could vote people off of shows, but
if we could, you think Danny Cannell would still be on Sirius XM? You know how many votes I'd be like American Idol. I'd be calling every 30 seconds. But look, I want to go back to I want to go back to this Smothers and Raleek thing. I'm with you. If you had told me at the beginning we get Raleek and they get Smothers, I'd be like, that's okay. I'm not. Yeah. In fact, I knew more about Raleek because he was a bigger deal in recruiting.
He was, and being at Arizona State where his son goes, so that's somebody you're really familiar with. And I've said all along, I prefer Hollywood. I still do. I'm just like Texas, apparently. I prefer to Hollywood to Raleek, but I looked at them as 1A and 1B, not Raleek. So, not Hollywood's at 1, and then there's several notches down. Then you get to they're 1A and 1B type kids to me. And again, the purpose of January roster management month is improve your rooms, improve each position. Raleek Brown would definitely improve Alabama's running back room. That's why it's not some sort of consolation prize if it works out that way. I think the way Alabama would like it to work out is Hollywood Smothers remains at Alabama. I'm quite certain that Kalen DeBoer, Courtney Morgan, Coach Gillespie, Ryan Grubb, the Alabama staff is working to make that happen. But again, apparently Hollywood Smothers is at Texas today. I can't believe we got 20 minutes into this show without mentioning that on campus as we speak is Cam Coleman. That I'm sure is going pretty well. We do pretty good with these visit situations. Be interesting to see if Cam Coleman is at the basketball game tonight. Huge basketball game on Alabama's campus. That would be
hang on, Jimmy. We're gonna break for 1 second, and then we're going to talk about Cam. I know if you're watching live, you just saw 2 locked on things go by, but that's where some advertisements will go later. And because I thought we were only going to do 2 segments, but this is rolled into 3, so be it. Cam Coleman is on campus right now. I'm feeling better and better about Cam Coleman. I probably shouldn't, because it seems like a lot of bad things have happened in a row. But I'm feeling better and better about Cam Coleman. And you're right. I would love to see him at the game tonight. I think we're going to the game. I know you're going to the game tonight. And it's a good opportunity to have a great crowd against a well-known opponent. Texas is not that great this year. I mean, but they still got dudes, and they're still coached by Sean Miller. So they are a threat. And so I think it'd be a good atmosphere, and it'd be great to have Cam Coleman there. If Cam Coleman were to commit, it does not solve a lot of the problems along the defensive or offensive line. It certainly doesn't solve the running back problem. But I think most people in the state of Alabama who have followed recruiting for a while, it would make them go, whew. It would make them feel better, just like, okay, we got a big win. Now let's go get the other stuff.
It would be great news. It would stem a lot of this negativity. It would be one of the great wins over Auburn, not involving an actual game. It would feel that way. A lot of Alabama fans would be doubly rejoiced. And let's not forget that Cam Coleman, yes, a wide receiver, and Alabama's pretty decent at wide receiver right now with Ron Williams and Lottie Brooks. But Cam Coleman is the number 1 ranked player in the transfer portal, period, for any position. He's considered the prize of the transfer portal. It would be a big deal, and Alabama fans are so excited about Cam. You can easily foresee, Luke, if he does go to the basketball game tonight and he's easily spotted on the floor, that there will be some fun chants all over Coleman Coliseum, the "We Want Cam" chants and stuff that you've seen in the past at basketball games when there's been a really high-profile prospect there. But, yeah, Cam Coleman would attract a lot of attention tonight in, ironically, Coleman Coliseum. And, heck, why is there? Let's go ahead and throw his name on the building, whatever it takes.
Some people have brought up, said, hey, don't worry about running back so much, E.J. Crowell. And I get that. Nobody loves E.J. Crowell more than me. Again, E.J. Crowell is in the same tier as Ryan Williams, because I do get to call all these state championship games. Ryan Williams was in a lot of them, and he always starred in them. I saw him win one, and I saw him lose one. And then, ironically, against Jalen Mbakwe. And I've seen A.J. Crowell play in a lot of these state championship games, and he's actually been more dominant than Ryan Williams. Now he's at a lower classification.
Yeah.
And he also probably had more help. I mean, Landon Duckworth going to South Kakalaki, the 2 receivers. I think you have 2. Well, 1 receiver and a defensive back going to North Carolina, right? Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Jackson High School. So, I mean, he may have had
both going to North Carolina, and then the receiver had the twin, who's the defensive back, who I think is committed to North Carolina. I don't think
maybe he's going to UCF. It's something like that.
No, they're going to North Carolina.
Okay.
Well,
regardless,
Keune Chapman, they're both going to North Carolina.
But I don't want people to forget this. Also, like Ryan Williams, E.J. Crowell is skipping his senior season in high school. That's not nothing. Now, somebody will say, what about Malachi Toney? We just saw what he can do. True. What about Ryan Williams? We saw what he could do last year. Also true. I would argue that playing running back skipping a year may be more difficult than playing wide receiver skipping a year. I mean, tell me I'm wrong, Jimmy.
No, I think that's fair, just because it's a more physically demanding position. You're asking a high school 12th grader to physically compete with SEC front sevens. And so it is more physically demanding. I agree that whenever a kid reclassifies, I have a little bit of a pause in terms of what kind of immediate impact he might have. And we'll point out that even a guy like LT Overton, who just finished his career now, finished up his 4 years of college football, boy, I wonder if LT could do it all again, whether he would reclassify. Because if he had another year of college football, he would be such a big star in the game, next season. Instead, he'll be a rookie in the NFL, and a very young one at that. So, yeah, the reclassifying, as far as I'm concerned, I wish there was a rule that just didn't allow it to happen, because I don't think it's good for kids. But yes, everyone that's listening to the show can name examples of kids who reclassified and were very impactful. Doesn't mean it's a great thing for all the kids. Austin Mack's another one that might have benefited from not reclassifying. But nevertheless, he's now competing for the starting job at Alabama as a redshirt junior.
I'm glad you brought up Austin Mack. So let's end with some good news. Austin Mack has confirmed, along with Keelan Russell and Red Morgan, they've all re-signed, or I know Red Morgan re-signed. I don't know if Keelan and Austin Mack actually re-signed. They said they're coming back, is what they said.
No, they've signed.
Okay, good.
Austin Mack have signed.
So that is good news. Now, there's also some other news out there. Javion, the name is Campbell, Javion Campbell from Kentucky, who Alabama pursued. He ended up committing to Kentucky. I think Auburn pursued him pretty good too. But he ended up committing to Kentucky last year. He didn't do much. Let's be honest. He didn't do much. He had one solo tackle on the year. But he's in the portal, and it's looking good for Alabama there. Now, this is a big kid. This is a kid that can, hopefully come in and give Alabama some help, no doubt about it. And he is along the defensive line. He's 6'5", 270, something like that. Yeah. So, that's big, and that can't hurt. Is he the most productive guy you've heard of in the portal? Well, heck no, but he is younger too. So if he only had one solo tackle in 4 years, I'd be scared to death. One solo tackle through his freshman year, I'm like, okay, well, let's see what he can do when we get him down here.
Not crazy at all that he redshirted. This is a kid, I remember him really well when Alabama recruited him out of high school. This was a basketball player that I believe only played football in his life, his junior and senior years of high school. That's the first time he ever played football. As he gained weight, which made him no longer an ideal basketball prospect. So he showed up. He stuck with the home state school. He's from Kentucky, so we signed with Kentucky over Alabama, Auburn, and a lot of schools are trying to recruit him. He did redshirt, but the one time I think it's fair to look at it and say, gosh, you went to Kentucky and redshirted and wasn't impactful even at Kentucky. I would get that criticism if you want to call it that. I would also say he's only played football for 2 years in his life. He's still learning to play football, and he's doing it on a field full of SEC football players in Lexington. So I wouldn't be too harsh on the fact that he didn't do much in his first year at Kentucky. Where it would really benefit Alabama, Luke, is he's a bandit in Alabama's scheme, and bandit is a spot where they need players. Right now, with Keon Keeley leaving and LT Overton graduating, the only bandits Alabama returns from last year's team are Jordan Renaud and Fatutoa Henry. Yeah, I gotta practice saying that. Fatutoa Henry.
No, I wasn't mad that you blew his name. I'm mad that we only got two dudes.
We've only got two dudes.
I don't care what you call him.
And neither one of them to this point have shown that they're ready to be a really good SEC football player. Now, they both got another year to develop, and we'll see what happens. But adding a kid that's not a true freshman to that group is a good thing, because if you can't go get a certified star there, at least you're adding more competition to the room. So adding Campbell to the bandit group with Jordan Renaud and Fatutoa Henry would be a nice pickup.
Bama Willie repeats something that Brooks Austin tweeted. Said the worst thing you can have on the roster, a 5-star freshman making 5-star money and not ready to play. Even worse, a 4-star 2 years removed from being ready. Dead weight is dead money. That is so true. I mean, this has become just like look at the Dolphins having an issue right now. What are they going to do with Tua? I mean, they get rid of him where you got a lot of dead money. It's scary. And college shouldn't be this way. I'll say it again. I'm all for the players getting paid. I've always believed that, but the pendulum has swung so far in the other direction, just like it does every time. Every time there's an election, what happens? You got either the Democrats are in control and everybody gets mad, and it swings so far to the right that you're like, well, this isn't any better. Then it swings so far back to the left, and it's just momentum all the time. We got to find a way to meet this thing in the middle if you want the sport to truly thrive. That being said, Jimmy, when I say all that, the first thing I think about as a guy who got a marketing degree is the ratings were out of bounds good this year, and there's more money than ever. So maybe
it's never been more popular. I know people are angry at college football, and they don't like any of these rules. And most discussion is about how upset everybody is. And at the same time, the TV ratings have absolutely never been higher. There's more money, more interest, more ratings, more attendance. I mean, everything in college football, it's easily the second most popular sport in the United States behind the NFL. And despite everyone bitching and moaning about every aspect of college football, its popularity has never been higher. As to Bama Willie's comment there, I think, which was a Brooks Austin tweet, which I saw. Look, I think some of this is some recency stuff. And by that, I mean, Alabama fans right now see that this portal recruiting isn't going very well. It's just not. And they're like, we've got to have more money and focus more on the portal than high school recruiting. And that's what everyone's saying right now. But you know why everybody's saying that right now? Because this is portal recruiting season. If we're in the midst of high school recruiting season, it would be the other way, because that's when all the focus is on high school recruiting and people be saying, we're not, we spent too much on the portal. We're not doing enough on high school recruiting. This is just the nature of having one pot of money that's got to go in 3 different buckets: retention, transfer portal, high school recruiting. I like how Alabama does it. I like the emphasis on high school recruiting. There's a lot of people out there that disagree with me right now because they see that the portal's not going well. Well, I would remind these people: Keelan Russell, E.J. Crowell, Ryan Williams, Lottie Brooks, Xavier Brown, Dijon Lee, London Simmons, Yanze Pierre. These are the best players on the team. They're all recruited out of high school by Alabama.
Let's also say this. Every time some other team gets involved and starts winning, you say, okay, what are they doing? And then you look at Indiana. We've talked about it. They got all these older players that are very experienced. And, like last night, Oregon has a lot more 5 stars and 4 stars. But the older players were out playing them. And everybody goes, okay, and even us, go get more older players. Well, a few years ago, it was, only 5-star teams with the most 5 stars win it. And before that, it was, if you don't have a dynamic running quarterback, you can't win the title. It's always something. And I think the best teams and the best programs with the most longevity will adapt to whatever is needed and figure out, okay, what's the best way for us to win this year? And then next year, maybe it's a dynamic quarterback this year. Maybe it is a running quarterback. Next year, maybe we'll have 4 wideouts like Bama had in 2019, and we'll be tossing the ball all over the yard. The next year, maybe you have King Henry, and you just hand him the ball 35 times a game. You got to be able to adapt. It's not necessarily one hard and fast rule.
And Indiana, for those that are watching Indiana right now and they figured it out, this is the right way to do it. I want to remind everyone that believes that a 23-year-old fifth-year senior has been passed over 3 times for the NFL draft. Yes. 3 different times has not been deemed good enough to play in the NFL. And y'all think that's the path? No NFL talent until they develop as 23-year-olds. I think what Indiana's got going on right now has been unique in the history of college football, and I think it's going to be very difficult to replicate going forward, where you had all these guys that stuck together, and now they're seniors, and now they're 23, and then they've become good players very late in their college careers. I think it's unique. I don't think this is a new path, but Signetti is a smart guy.
Garrett Gaskin, who's a member of the Everydayer Club, by the way, go join the Everydayer Club. $5 a month, $50 for a year. It's money you find in your couch cushion. It's no big whoop. Jimmy and I don't get the bulk of this money. Don't get us wrong. So we don't want you. And we also continue to do the same stuff we always do, but you get access to a Discord page and ad-free podcast. But he says, join the Everydayer Club because me and Michael Southern, Asian Jimmy, and the rest of the family make funny memes of Luke and Jimmy. I can't wait until Gaskin or Asian Jimmy, Michael Southern, makes a GIF with you and me both wearing the dictator outfits that were you. Oh God, what's the guy's name on Parks and Rec who was on Saturday Night Live?
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armisen. Somebody's got to put us in the Fred Armisen dictator outfits.
It's coming now. Every time you've requested this,
don't put us in an actual dictator outfit. That could get a little sketchy. But a costume dictator outfit, of a fantasy dictator outfit, I can live with. All right. So, look, Jimmy and I will be back tomorrow. I mean, what's funny is today when we were talking about doing the show, Jimmy was like, if we do a show 10 minutes after that, everything may change from what we just said. And it's sad and it's true, and I hate it. Let's just get through this all together and try and make it. We're going to be all right. I mean, we shouldn't panic. Alabama's still pretty good. So, but at the same time, there's some things there's some holes we got to plug. So, all right.
Got to get better. Got to do better in the portal because we got to address the offensive line, defensive line too, offensive line especially. We got a real problem there. That's just a fact.
Hey, Keelan Russell or Austin Mack's only going to be as good as the dudes that block for him.
That's
right?
Exactly right. None of this will function without an offensive line. And right now we have Michael Carroll. And I'm excited about William Sanders. I think he's going to be a starter. I think Jackson Lloyd has a chance. And then you brought in Strayhorn from the portal, who's just a freshman. we got to add some dudes up front. I'm optimistic on Ty Haywood and DJ Chester, both of whom will be at least immediately contending to start. And if you're not bringing in a certified obvious starter like a Jacorius Peak would have been, if you can't bring in a certified obvious starter, the next best thing, bring in someone who's a contender to start and can add some depth and some competition. I think Ty Haywood and DJ Chester would certainly do that.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Y'all come to the game at Coleman Coliseum tonight. By the way, it's Coleman Coliseum. Cam Coleman's there.
Cam Coleman Coliseum. We'll call it Cam Coleman Coliseum at least for tonight.
How have we not thought of this before?
Well, we thought of it. It's in the show. It's in the show.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right. That's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.